Today we are going to talk about homecoming. We are going to talk about the homecoming of Rigathi Gachagua. And before him, there was the homecoming of RAILA. And before the homecomings, za RAILA ni nyingi. So Rigathi is homecoming, RAILA's is homecomings, and MATIBA is also homecoming, singular. This type of return started with Kenneth Stanley Njindo Matiba. It is meant to be an earth mover or an earth shaker. Rigathi's return is more recognized or more noticeable since it was very quiet the time he had gone away, and any slight movement can be noticed. Just like in a total darkness, any small light would be more noticeable than a floodlight at noon. Rigathi may have wanted a massive turnout in order to place himself above his colleagues in the opposition. His colleagues obviously avoided welcoming him at JKIA, especially since it would have given the impression that they are subordinate to him. They and their parties would appear inferior to him and his party as a result. I do not know why Murkomen and his team insisted on statement about arrest. You know, I've never been that close to the government. Maybe if I become that close to the government, I'll start reasoning like them. I don't know what is the magic or the juju that is placed at the entrance to the government, such that are very bright, even these people you are seeing in the opposition, talking and whatever. Did Ruto and his group also do the same script when they were uncomfortable? Even these people you see in the opposition, once they take over, if they will take over, they'll start just doing exactly that. I don't know what juju is placed at the gate of the government. Furthermore, somebody to explain to me, if there's to be a statement and or an arrest, must it occur on the day and hour that he is his arrival? Was Rigathi on transit so that any delay may have him to run? Can you convince me that if they would have delayed by even an hour, a day or something, or even a week, he would have escaped either out of Kenya or even to the forest? Why was it a must that it had to happen at the airport just as he lands into Kenya? I bet if there were no threats of arresting him at JKIA, I bet if there was no risk of arresting him at JKIA, the crowd may have been less. You see, by saying that upon arrival, he's going to be arrested in Kenya, I don't know whether there is another Kenya, but I'm talking of the Kenya whose capital is Nairobi. Such scenes is an indirect way of Murkomen telling people, please turn out in large numbers. Because quite a good number of them turned up because they heard that he was going to be arrested, and they went there to make sure that he's not being arrested. Some of us are permanently barred from being government advisors. Kwanza Ruto, who advises his advisors on how to advise him. The thing that I would have advised the government, if I were to advise the government, is that there was no need to threaten to arrest him. He went to America, talked. When he talked, he came back, stays. If I have to give myself as an example, if I have to remember how I used to be when I was in the intelligence, it is kiddish and laughable to say that someone, anybody, Gachagua included, goes to America, tells the American government things, and there is a Mazembe moment. There is a tension and whatever. If I remember very well, especially during my time and after, even issues to do with us, even the issues to do with us internally, we gain more from America than America gains from us. Let me give an example. Sometimes back, I think in 1972, Jaramogi wanted to overthrow Jomo Kenyatta. And he went to Dar es Salaam because Jaramogi was a communist and Nyerere was a socialist. So Jaramogi believed that Nyerere would prefer a communist country to a socialist to a capitalist country. Jaramogi, I'll repeat, thought that Nyerere preferred a communist country than a capitalist country. What Jaramogi did not know is that Nyerere at that point in time, because at one time Nyerere even had to smuggle guns up to Kisumu through Mwanza, but I'm saying of that particular time, Nyerere would have preferred Kenyatta to be the president than Jaramogi. Why? They are all dead. We do not know. So when Jaramogi went and told Mwalimu Julius Kabarage Nyerere about Julius Kabarage Nyerere came. So the intelligence gathering between countries are always there, and they do usually happen that. Now, trying to imagine, especially a former law lecturer like Kipchumba Murkomen, thinking that the country can be shaken by one person going to US and whatever, you are only doing him a favor. You're only adding, in fact, you with that kind of people, that kind of people like Murkomen, the person who is enjoying most is Mr. Regardless. Is just playing into him. So I'm saying that by threatening to arrest him upon arrival, that by itself may have contributed to an increase, an increase of people who went there. Some out of curiosity, some went there to defend him, and so on. But I believe that with the turnout, also the political, what do you call, political temperature was low in Kenya, not because Rigathi was away, but you see, Chan must have contributed to it. Chan must have contributed to it, to the less mob. You know, when we have external issues, we tend to be united. And also, the other thing that may be playing well to Ruto's line is the wins that are there. The wins that Harambee Stars is having, Plus, you see, I said the first one is we have we have visitors. 2, we are winning. 3, there are millions going to the pockets of the players. That way, you'll find that many Kenya would put the politics aside until after China has gone. What's more, we will find 6 million. And there is another football match that is coming up later. I think next year. AFCON. I think it could be AFCON. I'm not very good in football. But the Kenyans, irrespective of their political leanings, would want that football to come. That they would be the last people. They would be the last people who would want to spoil the chances of Kenya getting that time. But you see, Kenyan having another football again in the next year, and things happening the way they are happening, that would be 11 months towards the next election. The person to benefit there most is the political genius called Kipchirchir. So, because of the football churn and everything, politicians want to, not politicians, demonstrators want just to be absent just for some time. So that could have contributed to his coming and whatever the mixture in low number. On one hand, people want to put politics aside. Also, at the same time, Kenyans are busy elsewhere and whatever. I want to say that Kenyan opposition, from when multi-party started, have discovered a way to rejuvenate themselves. When they become like a stuck record, what they usually do is just be absent for some time. Just be absent for some time. When you come back, it will be while you are away. When you continue staying here continuously, uh, you repeat the same thing for quite some time. But when you go away, the time when you'll come back, the hashtag while you are away will be restated. Should Rigathi succeed in numerous tension, not just the government will lose, but fellow oppositions will lose. Fellow opposition leaders will lose. For example, were he to be arrested at the airport, even if he is to be arrested a day or two from today, whatever. You see, I know very many people, some who are very personal friends of mine. These are the people who, right now, 2 years ago, a few years ago, they were anti-Uhuru, pro-Ruto. Now they are anti-Ruto, because even the people who are in the opposition now, if tomorrow they were to be in the government, there are many Kenyans who would just join them. A very good middle class Kenyan, a good number of middle class Kenyans want to be in the opposition. Even me tomorrow, if I were to be the government, they would still oppose me. So that is what I feel about the middle class. And as I said, if Rigathi is to succeed, it is not just his fellow oppositionists who will lose. It is not just the government that will lose or Ruto, but his fellow oppositionists, because Kenyans, as I said, the middle class tend to side with somebody who is opposing those in authority. Rigathi has borrowed from both Raila and Matiba about homecomings. As I said, Matiba, it was one, but Raila, it was several. I'll start with Matiba's grand welcome first, because it is one and only one. Then I'll talk about Raila's numerous homecomings. First and foremost, it was a time when Kenyans realized that they could picket. You see, before Matiba went for treatment abroad, Uh, Picketing was only allowed when it was sanctioned by the government, and it was there either to castigate the opposition, or in the case of when Amin claimed Kenya up to Naivasha, it was to go and castigate Amin for wanting to hive off part of Kenya. If you would have organized a demonstration against Shifter, the government, but anything anti-government, no. So it was the time when Kenyans realized that they could picket. And so realizing that you have that right to picket gives a large turnout. Just like Kenya, when Kenya attained independence, there were some hotels where Africans were not allowed to go and buy food or drinks. So when Kenya attained independence, there is quite a number of Kenyans who went to those bars to drink from the tables that they were not allowed, to eat food that they were not allowed, even though such a meal, one meal, supper, would cost him the salary for the whole month. But what I'm trying to say here is, when people are denied something and then they are allowed to do it, they do it in excess. Today, then at that time, the pain against the government was more. That time, actually, I was in service and I could see it, that people are really pained about the government. Today, one goes for picketing, is almost sure of coming back alive. Today, even though the police, I've studied, I've talked about it, but I'll talk it later also. I know why the police today are inhuman. Imagine, I've even recorded some chiefs and assistant chiefs attend interviews, are employed, they complete 20 years, yes, 20 years, without even going for induction course. They're just wanaambiwa jipange. Police used to, we used to have something called PTC. We used to have something which were later renamed RTC, Regional Training Center. They are no longer there. These were centers where police officers from that region or province would regularly attend refresher courses. So when you see that the police, the stray, these RTCs and PTCs, they take care of, there are very few cases of stray bullets. There are very few. You can go to a police station and find that a police officer who was employed 20 years ago has never attended any course, be it traffic, be it refresher, be it investigation, be it whatever. No investigation has been done by any police officer for 20 years. There are some who have not attended any course for 20 years. So that is why, and then there are new firearms and the new laws coming. I think you now understand. But that is a story for another day. I was saying that today, when one goes for picketing, it is almost always sure of coming back alive. If you don't come back alive, it is these police officers who I'm saying has worked for 20 years without shooting in a range. Those 20 years he has been, uh, 20 years he has been given, even the guns that are coming, he has been given, he goes out to work with it without practicing it in a range. So any slight alarm, he shoots into the crowd. That is why they are killing people. And also their morale is very low. But I repeat for the third time that if you go for picketing today, you're almost sure of coming back alive, save for those things I've said. But during the time that Matiba was coming back, when one went for picketing, that is demonstration, he was always sure of injury or even death. So I can say that today, those people who go for picketing, their security is more secure. Two, there is that jinsi damu moto ya ujana, there is whatever. But then those days during Matiba's time, anybody who went out to picket used to do it for God and my country. Say, I'm doing it for the truth that is God, and I'm also doing for my country. Matiba himself was also very popular. He had very good slogans that would pull people to his meetings. But what many people didn't know then, maybe nowadays they know, was that the administration, with the help of the intelligence, knew that a united Ford in particular and the opposition in general would carry the day. So the government in general and the intelligence in particular sweet talked to both sides and insisted that they stood the best chance to topple the government. There are those who are sent to Raila's camp, which later became Ford Kenya. Not Raila, Jaramogi's camp, which later became Ford Kenya, and told Jaramogi, it is now or never. Well, they did not use the word, you have only one bullet, but they talked of something towards that. This is your best chance and don't give it to anybody. Some agents were even sent abroad to visit Matiba in hospital. And Matiba was told, that it is now or never. Now with the two egos, Kwanza Matiba, nobody would step down for the other. I usually make a small calculation that supposing KANU had 40% and opposition had 60%. Now they take the two Fords, Ford Asili and Ford Kenya, add their DP. Each would come on average with 20. And the constitution then said did not have the runoff clause. So these people, the opposition then did not have a clause for runoff. So that is how the constitution was. And then the people went abroad and convinced Matiba not to step down. That is how it was those days. As for Raila, he discovered that these were God-sent opportunities to rejuvenate. It was his chance to rejuvenate his dwindling opportunities. Especially when somebody came up with the hashtag Baba while you were away. When somebody came up with the hashtag Baba while you were away. Yes, Rigathi can be a Raila, but he cannot be the Raila. I repeat, Rigathi can be a Raila, but Rigathi cannot be the Raila. You cannot gain in 2 years what someone gained in 20 years. You cannot gain in 2 years what somebody gained in 20 years. But I'm not sure if he has forgotten about impeachment. You see, impeachment is still there. And he keeps on talking that when they reach there, the person who will bring the largest basket on the table will be the presidential candidate. Of course, you cannot compare Kikuyus with Kisses. So when you come with the issue of basket, of course, he stands higher. But he's still impeached. And his effectiveness is limited. He has very many examples in Kenya and elsewhere about the perils of a kingmaker. If his impeachment stays, the best he can do is he can be a kingmaker, not a peacemaker, but a kingmaker. Once the king has been enthroned, his first target is usually his kingmaker. There are many examples. There are very many examples. Uh, let us start with Kibaki. Kibaki, he was made by Raila. In, within 24 hours, I remember some journalists were asking him about one term or whatever, and he acted as if he didn't know. Within hours of the election being called, we go back to Moi. Moi, he had to do something about Charles Njonjo. Moi had to do something about Charles Njonjo. Jomo Kenyatta. Jomo Kenyatta, if you look at his government, most of you were not there, were not even born when Jomo Kenyatta was there. Jomo Kenyatta, upon becoming the prime minister and later the president, he sided with colonial, what do you call, colonial collaborators, and he forgot about the freedom fighters. He forgot about the freedom fighters. So if Rigathi Gachagua is thinking of being a kingmaker, because he has even said it before, he has said that he's going to make, he said that the mountain is going to support somebody, give him the vehicle and retain the logbook, or give him the land and retain the title deed. I hope he knows that. There is a saying that when a blind man tells you that he will stone you, be careful. Maybe he has regained sight. You know, when a blind man tells you, I will hit you with this stone, don't think, you may say, but how can a blind man see? It is quite possible that he has regained his sight. So when he's going to throw the stone and you turn to another direction, he'll throw the stone to the direction you have gone, because he knows that you have moved from where your voice was to another place due to the sight that he has regained. So when you see Rigathi talking with confidence, maybe he knows something that me and you do not know. But in all realities, this is all a zero-sum game for him. Let us just watch this space.